Getting there. Okay, let's do this. Good evening, this is Alan VK2, Mike Golf on behalf of the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club. It's kicking off the weekly net. I'm sorry a few minutes late, folks. I just had some computer trouble. Really need to get a new one. Okay, so we run this net weekly. We unfortunately don't have Echo Link with us still. Hopefully as things open up, we may actually be able to get somebody up to the repeater site to do something about that. We generally run 2 rounds with a topic and pretty much anything else you'd like to talk about. So, as we kick off, is anybody up there who would like to join me this evening?
I think you can try VK2FDWY. Okay, 2PHL.
I missed that last one. What was that last call in?
K2 Bravo Hotel Lima.
Gotcha, VK2 Bravo Hotel Lima. Anybody else wish to join us this evening?
November Romeo Charlie.
Okay, acknowledging so far. VK2 FDWI, VK2 BHL and VK2 NRC. Anybody else before we kick off? Can be a quick one. I'm going to utter those fateful words. It could be a quick one this evening. That's there we go. I've done it. It's done it, hasn't it? One more call out before we get started. Anyone else? And the silence was resounding. Okay, good evening, gentlemen. Good to hear you all again tonight. I hope you've been well this week. Came up with a topic for tonight, but I guess with the size of the net, anything you really want to talk about is fair game, as always, I guess. So what I was thinking about was, as I know I have a few of these, what projects have you meant to do but never quite got to? I know I've got a HF noise canceller kit that I've had sitting in a bag there for a year and a half that I've not got to yet for no particular reason, and it just never makes it to the top of my to-do list. Okay, Dave, how have you been? What you been up to? And projects, VK2FDWI, VK2MG.
Yeah, VK2MG. I'm well. I'm surviving. I'm getting through the day. And projects. Remember back the EA, I think it was Electronics Today magazine back in the 70s or the 80s. No, it was back in the 70s. They had an audio amp, a 100-watt audio amp in a small little container with two longitudinal heat sinks at the rear of it, and they were using a couple of PNPs, NPN 30, 35s, I think, and something else. But anyway, it weighed about 20 tonne because of the transformer, and the power going in and the power going out, it wasn't exactly 100 watts. I got that organised, and I thought instead of doing it in the box that they recommend in the metal casing, I'll put it in an old guitar amplifier. And of course, the guitar amplifier was an old 12-watt thing that was from the late 60s, and it was an excellent amp. So I go and destroy it to put this 100-watt thing in. It was just a disaster. Nothing happened here, nothing happened there. Other things got in the way, and of course it was never completed. But that was probably about one project from those ancient days, VK2MG, VK2FDWY.
Yeah, VK2FDWY, VK2MG. I can tell you exactly what that project was because that was my main gigging amp for a long time. It was an ETI 480. And unfortunately with mine, the magic smoke escaped and I never got around to fixing it. I've got no idea what actually happened to it. It was a lovely clean amp. And I did have it in the metal box. And I had the 400 watt version with the 4.2 and 3.55s in it. And it was a beautiful amp. And just to look good on stage, I fed it with an ETI 414 8-channel mixer. It looked really nice, but I was just using it as a preamp. I know that amplifier well. It was a lovely. That was a joy to use. And I know that one very well. And glad to hear that you're doing well, and good to see that you're still around. That's a really poor way of putting that, but I know you know what I meant. Okay, moving on, Henry. How have you been? What you been up to? And any projects that you'd never quite gotten to for whatever reason? VK2, BHL, VK2MG. I hope you're still there. Are you still with us? VK2, BHL, VK2MG. Getting shorter. Okay, we'll try Henry again in a minute. He may have had to be called away. Rob, your turn. Bottom of the list. Wow. How have you been, mate? Hope you're keeping well. Do anything interesting and any projects that you've never quite gotten to? VK2 NRC, VK2MG.
VK2MG and the group VK2 NRC. One project, it's not actually amateur radio, but it was one that I started to get the bits together for, and that was actually a steam traction engine. Got all the drawings, everything like that, and started to do it, and then just swapped jobs, and there was never any time, whereas the previous job, there was always time to do foreign orders sort of thing at the end of the day. And I was only thinking about it the other day, that I had to dig out the drawings, and I know I've got most of the bits tucked away, so, a few years worth of work, it's not like it's a 2-minute project, so it'll keep me occupied. And, that's, most of the other ones, they're sort of going, but they've sort of come to halts, whether it be my lack of knowledge on the next stage, or lack of parts, or it's gone to the end of the list for various reasons. Back to you. Alan, VK2, MG, VK2, NRC.
VK2RAG, Summersby.
Yeah, VK2 NRC, VK2 MG. Fascinating. I've always been a huge fan of steam locomotion and steam engines in particular. I love the things, and it's just fascinating stuff, and the mechanics and everything is just beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. But here you're doing well as well. So where am I? We're at the bottom of the list here. And we've got Al Barton on Facebook as well. Good evening to all on the net. Surprise day today after the forecast. Thanks for the net. For the net surprise day. Okay. I'm not quite sure what you mean there by a surprise day today, Al, but I'm sure you'll enlighten me. I've got a couple of things, but the one that always springs to mind is that VK5TM noise canceller, because anybody who's heard me complain about HF at my place knows about the S8, S9 noise on 40 and 80 metres. And it would be lovely to do something about that. But got all the bits, even went out and bought the cold solder for the so for the surface mount, and it's still in the fridge a year later, and I've just not gotten to it because I'm going to put it down to work. I've been really busy at work, but I think also I've just been lazy. That would be me. I should make a note of that if I'm going to talk about this. If I've got a report on the nets, K5TM kit, that's about. Let's see if is Henry back? VK2 BHL, VK2 MG. I guess not. This is going to be a very quick one. We're 10 minutes in and we're through round one. I was talking about the weather today, I think, looking at that. It was quite nice out there today. I didn't get out, but I'll say I'm a lot happier today than I've been most of the week after work. I managed to get to the bottom of a problem that's been bugging me for 2 or 3 days. Tricky to find what the problem was and the really trivial fix, that sort of problem. Anyway, so I had a good work day today for a change. Managed to knock off not too late. Only did a 10-hour day, 11-hour day today. Yay. Okay, bottom of the list. Anybody else wish to join us? This is Alan, VK2 Mike Golf, on behalf of the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club with a weekly nat.
K2HJW.
Acknowledging Ray, VK2HJW. Anybody else? Well, in that case, Ray, you're up. Topic tonight is what projects have you meant to do but just never quite gotten to, as well as the general. How have you been and been up to anything interesting? VK2HJW, VK2MG.
K2MG in the group, VK2HJW. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Looks like I missed the first round, but it's pretty early still. So, yeah, I'm well and keeping out of mischief and projects. There's so many projects I mean to do, but never get round to doing it. But you can't do everything, I guess. But yeah, I've got a little project. I've got to do a few things actually. I have been living in this place for 6 months now, and I still haven't set up the office with the radio room. I just got my radios up in the lounge, but I keep meaning to actually move them into the office and have a proper radio shack. But yeah, I'll do that one day, but it's quite nice operating up in the lounge anyway, and I'm not annoying anyone by doing it, so it's a better position, a better view from up here. So that's one thing I have to do eventually. I suppose when I start getting visitors, I'll have to move everything out, because, yeah, at the moment I've got one table in one corner of the lounge for radio gear, and in the dining room table I've got keyboards and speakers and everything on it, so yeah, it's not suitable for entertaining at the moment, but it's great for living by myself, I guess. Anyway, VK2MG in the group, VK2HJW, and I hope everyone's well. VK2.
Sorry, I missed that last call. Go again.
VK2 November Uniform.
VK2 November Uniform. Good to have you join us. Okay, Ray, yeah, I can certainly understand. I was like that before I got married. I remember living in a flat and it was either radio gear, computer gear, or music gear. There's not a lot of room for anything else. And yeah, it's all in my office now, and I've really got to do something about that because I've got no room to move about in here, and I'd really like to actually do some proper recording and not pick up my fan noise. Okay, VK2 and you. Topic tonight is what projects have you meant to do but just never quite gotten to? And in more generally, I hope you've been well. How have you been? And what you been up to? Anything interesting? A VK2 and you, VK2MG.
VK2MG, VK2 November Uniform. Yeah, Alan, no problems at all.
all good here. I tried to check in before, but I think it must have a bit of a sort of poor connection on me antenna. So I need to do a bit of playing around with that and try and sort of suss out what the problem is. But yeah, all good. Still off work. Don't go back till next week, which I'm not really looking forward to. But I suppose it'll get me out of the house. And apart from that, catching up with a few jobs around the place. And as towards sort of projects, I think probably the main one I've been putting off for a couple of years. I've got a kit there for a roofing filter from a EHF radio. It's been sitting in a drawer there. I bought it a couple of years ago, and I still haven't gotten around to installing the thing. Every time I see it, I keep thinking I need to get onto that, and then promptly forget about it soon afterwards. But apart from that, all good this end. VK2MG, VK2NU.
Yeah, VK2NU, VK2MG. Fine on having yet another week of holidays off, and get to spend it well, I hope. And catching up a few things around the house. Well, like I said, I hope you get to relax a bit as well. And as I said, I know the feeling about that roofing filter and just not getting to it. And I've got that noise cancellation kit that I really, really, really got to get to, because it's just getting really difficult. 40 meters and an S8 noise. Okay, we've got another check-in on Facebook. Good evening, Anthony. Good to see you. Right. It's 8:19 and we're at the end of round one. I'm going to put one more call out to see if anybody else wishes to join us before we head back up to the top. This is Alan VK2 Mike Golf on behalf of the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club with our weekly net. Anybody else wish to join us before we head back to the top? Good evening, Max. You're up. As you probably heard, topic tonight, as well as how have you been and been up to anything interesting. Projects that you've meant to do but just never quite got to. VK2XOR, VK2MG.
VK2MG in the group, VK2XOR. Good evening, Alan. Thanks for running the net. Good evening, everyone else on the net so far. Hopefully you get a few more takers. Hope everyone's doing well. I've been doing well. Family's good. Just, busy times. And just haven't been doing much radio lately, but in the office doing a little bit of work right now, so I thought I'd just check in and say a quick hello. And I'll try and leave the radio going in the background if it's not too distracting. Projects that just never got around to finishing, to be honest. There are probably more of those on my list than the ones that I've actually completed, so I don't even know where to start. There are far too many to count. I've got about 20-ish, I think I'm up to about 20 blog posts that I've kind of semi-drafted or stubbed out and haven't been published yet. So there's one for you. Back to net control, VK2XOR.
Yeah, VK2XOR, VK2MG. Oh, yes, I know about that. I've not written anything on my blog in far, far too long. And yeah, okay, I blog about going out and doing radio stuff remotely. I've not been doing it, but I've got other things I can write about too. So I have been slack there, but I'm doing the stuff they're paying me for instead. Except I'm doing it for them and not getting paid out of hours. But anyway, that's me being silly. Glad you and the family are doing well. And I certainly can feel with more than you've got more to do than completed, and far too many. I have to sit down sometime and think what some of the others are, but I know that I have quite a few of them. Anyway, we're going to head back to the top of the list now. We've put a couple of calls out. Dave. So as I mentioned, I am very familiar with that amplifier. I used it quite a bit with a speaker that I bought from, it was at a Gosford Field Day at the showground a long time back. It would have been mid-early 80s. It cost me all of $4, and it was this beautiful think it was an 18-inch sub. Went Tandy's and bought a horn to parallel with it and just made a nice setup. VK2 FDWI, VK2MG.
VK2MG, yeah, I remember those big red tea shops and their speakers and so forth. I had a Philips book on designing speakers, and it had the equivalent to maths and the associated ratios and so forth, and the box volumes and how to achieve something. And I used to do a lot of early boxes back then, and they were reasonably good. One box was tested, it was something like a 3 dB gain over a 6-inch 8-ohm speaker, and I think the speaker was rated at 10 watts, I think 10 watt speak. But that was one of the things I used to do a lot back in those days. But recently the big two-tone blue electronics warehouse thing that's around the place, I eventually approached them and got one of those jump starters. And you know, the ones that the 400 amp DC supply and USB output supply, 5 volt 10 amp or something outputs. I got one of those, and then I looked around their catalogue and I realised I can get the adapter for it for the cigarette lighter. And so I rang up a couple of places around West Gosford, and I had phoned up a place earlier in the year, and I went back there and told them what the situation was. They knew about the phone call, and so they were expecting me. And I went and got a new battery, didn't I, for the car? And I had to use the jump start. I went into the car this morning, and it was just, that was all it could do. So I put the jump start on, and it went, what are you doing to me? And I said, well, I'm going to give you another dose, and it started like a charm. So the thing is, though, it still has this issue of dropping back in the third gear. And I thought maybe what the problem there was that it's low voltage. But anyway, I got over there, got the new battery, got things over. The alternator is charging. One of the service reports from a service I had said that the alternator the alternator drive belt isn't really tight enough at certain under normal certain loads. So that could be something that needs adjusting. But I got the car and the engine started like it used to start. Turned the ignition switch and bang, it's up and running within seconds. And I'm coming home and everything's super cool. And I went out this afternoon, went from the garage halfway up the driveway, and bang, it locked in third again. So I just thought, do I get it re-registered or do I hang on to it for another year? Ums and ahs and ahs and ums. But it was reminding me of some guys who had one of those Mercs, and it used to always lock in P. This particular model locked in P, and the guy that owned it could not find the problem anywhere, could not solve it. Technicians couldn't solve it. The company techs couldn't solve it. And a guy in the States apparently had the same issue, and he said, lift the boot up and take this out, take this cover up, you'll find a battery in there. If that battery's flat, then it'll lock in P. And of course, they didn't know, anyway, the particular Merc company didn't want to know or didn't know about it. So I'm just wondering if my little thing dropping back in the third gear is something that I don't know about, or it's some other issue. But anyway, the thing's up and running, so I went for a drive in it this afternoon, and it's familiar, but it just doesn't seem familiar. So if that makes sense. The other thing was the music bit. I'm doing all the classical stuff and doing an index and giving it a file name, AKB number, whatever. And so I want to do several of those things and make a CD out of it. So that's about me for this week. VK2MG, VK2FDWI.
Yeah, VK2FDWI, VK2MG. Yeah, cars just do strange things. Mine's got a couple of little foibles too. I've got a 2006 Astra. I found that on long drives on the freeway every so often, the gearbox drops into what it's called default mode. All that means is it locks itself into fourth. Freeway driving, that's really not that much of an issue. I don't mind being in top on a freeway, but I have actually found out that the way it's a really easy clear anything on this car is basically pull the car over and turn it off, turn it on, and it clears and it's all good again. It was a bit scary when it first happened. And a couple of other little things like my I've got to check the water myself on this regularly because I get false positives on my my water level light. It comes on every time I start the car. It says check water. or every couple of minutes after I start the car. So I just got to make sure I check it every so often and go, no, it's right. So, and good on the making a CD. Good luck with that. It's something I do need to do, but I want to get myself a couple of more recent originals to do on that as well. We'll get there. Okay. We'll give Henry another go. Are you back with us, Henry? VK2BHL, VK2MG. Sounds like a no. Okay, we'll count Henry as a high and by. Rob, anything else you wish to throw into the mix tonight? VK2NRC, VK2MG.
VK2 MG, VK2 NRC. Just curious, what type of car is VK2S BWY's car? I've been hearing this story about this car and the battery problems for about, I don't know how long, but I don't know what type of car it is. I'd just be curious to find out what it is, whether it's something really exotic or something not so exotic. Anyway, that was one thing that comes to mind. And the steam engines, I've actually bought 6 engines which are capable of running, and that at the moment they're stored away in a little battery unit I've got. But they're a lot of fun to do, and 2 of them they're sort of designed completely from scratch myself, and they worked first time.
That's nice.
Put air onto them the first time they were off and running. With the traction engine, that's another thing altogether. There's a lot of work in that. But I'll get there. It was always going to be a lifetime project, so I'm not too stressed about it. I'm still here, so it's still current. Anyway, back to you on VK2MG, VK2NRC.
Yeah, Rob, okay, let's find out. Dave, what's your car? VK2FDWI, VK2MG.
Okay, the car, when it was made, it was an exotic one. It was a 2001 Hyundai Grandeur, and it was owned by a company for high-end rentals, and then they sold it when it got 40-odd Ks. They sold it, some guy bought it down at Brisbane, and then they gave it to the dealer, and I got it. But it was a 2001 V6 3-litre Grandeur.
There you go, Rob, a 2001 3-litre V6 Hyundai Grandeur. Mm-hmm.
I'll have to go and look around for one. They'll probably appear out of everywhere for me. But, just to hear the story. I've never ever heard what it was. But, anyway, back to you all. VK2MG, VK2NRC.
Yeah, VK2NRC, VK2MG. All good. That is amazing that not only you designed and built 2 of those engines, but they worked first go. That is a credit to you, my friend. That really is amazing. Okay, we got next here. Ray, anything else you want to throw into the mix? VK2HJW, VK2MG.
2MG in the group VK2HJW. The only thing is, I believe the Oceania DX contest is on this weekend.
Yes,
and,
it is.
I might be looking forward to that, actually. I think it's a good lockdown activity, isn't it? So I noticed last night, I actually turned on 40 metres last night. First time I've been on HF for probably over a week. And I made 4 contacts into Japan, which is... I haven't made a 40-metre contact to Japan for ages, so conditions are changing. Like it's normally I get the Kiwis and the Yanks, and that's and around up the east coast of Australia. That seems to be 40 metres for me. So it was really nice to make a contact into Japan, and I'd be interested to hear anyone else's views on any changes I've noticed or things happening on the bands that are a little bit different than normal or have been for the last 6 months or so. VK2MG in the group, VK2HJW.
Yeah, VK2HJW, VK2MG. Yes, I noticed JA coming in nice and strong on 40 metres last night as well. I didn't go and have a conversation. I was doing other things, but I was just tuning around the band late at night going, oh, that's interesting. Something else I did see somebody note today on one of the Australian Facebook groups for AR is apparently 12 metres is starting to open up in that general direction as well. So it's we need to spend some time listening up around there as well. It's nice to see some of those upper HF bands actually starting to get a bit of activity, because they can be a lot of fun too. I did read about the Oceania DX contest this weekend. We had the Ritty one last weekend, which was which made we're trying to do CW with Gerard with him getting clobbered by Ritty. That was fun. And so I think it's the Voice this weekend and the CW next weekend. One thing I did see interesting in the rules is they're asking people to actually give proper signal reports. So you're not going to get the good old CW 599 TU sent at 40 or 50 words a minute. That'd be nice. Anyway, yep, moving on. David, anything else you want to throw into the mix? VK2NU, VK2MG.
Yeah, VK2MG, VK2NU. Yeah, not too much else, Alan. Just about conditions of the HF bands, I can probably sort of concur with what's been said. Been on holiday, I've probably been listening quite a bit more the last couple of weeks than what I usually do when I'm at work, and it does seem to be getting a bit more lively. I've actually got 40 metre CW run at the minute, and as sort of Japanese, US, West Coast US, sort of China, that sort of northeast sort of path. And yeah, up on when was it? Not today. I was busy today, but yesterday I was on listening on sort of 10 metres, and you sometimes think the band's dead because you can't hear anything, and you sort of turn to the FT8 frequency, and it's there's a heap of stations on there, even though there's nothing on CW or SSB. And on FT8 on 10 metres, I worked half a dozen stations in Eastern Europe on sort of 10 metres. So there's been activity. There's usually activity through the day to sort of Japan, but that's quite a straightforward north-south path. But to sort of work into Europe, even though it was sort of Eastern Europe on sort of 10 metres, it's probably quite some time since I've done that. So hopefully it's a sign of things to come. We're coming into the sort of season where the higher band should be picking up a bit. We're probably still a couple of years away from any really good activity, but it'll be nice to be able to get on 10 metres again. It's just unfortunate all the activity seems to be on FTA, and it's a struggle to hear anything anywhere else. Anyway, back to you, mate. VK2MG, VK2NU.
Yeah, VK2NU, VK2MG. Interesting. I know FT8 is a great way to actually go and see what conditions are like, isn't it? Now, admittedly, you're going to get further on that mode than most other things, but it's an indication of good things to come, isn't it? And yeah, Eastern Europe on 10 metres. I think I might have to go and turn FT8 on. I'm going to spend it's probably been a couple of months since I've actually had FT8 turned on here. Because yeah, most of the band I get most of the luck on is 40 metres, and at the moment 40 metres any sort of power takes out my my VDSL at home, which is not good considering I'm working from home. But yeah, I might have to give some of those higher bands a go because they are safe for me. I've always found 17 is a really interesting place for FT8 as well during the day. Okay, where are we here? Max, are you still with us, mate? Anything else you want to throw into the mix? VK2XOR, VK2MG.
XOR. No, apologies, not really much more from me at the moment, Alan. Haven't really been able to pay full attention to the net, but hopefully I'll check in soon enough in the coming weeks, and looking forward to the end of lockdown as well, getting up there and getting on the trail and things like that in the near future. Hope everyone stays well and stays safe, and thanks again for running the net, Alan. Take care all. Back to net control from VK2XOR.
Yeah, VK2XOR, VK2MG. Yes, it will be good to get, you're going to hate me saying this, to go EOL, end of lockdown. Ouch, yeah, bad computer joke. Yeah, it'll be great to get out again, and hopefully, I'm not quite sure how the rules work with us going to do things like the repeater sites, but I know recreation-wise it will be nice to be able to go and take the radio out into a park somewhere and just play with it. And without having to wear the mask outside while I'm trying to use a microphone. Anyway, we are at the bottom of the list. We have had another check-in on Facebook. Good evening, Mike. From Adelaide, VK5ZMI. And good evening to you back, Anthony. You have a great night as well. So, like I said, we're at the bottom here. Anybody else wish to join us before we finish out for the night? This is Alan, VK2MG, on behalf of the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club, running the weekly 2-metre net. We could be done. Nothing being heard. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That started out with me being concerned we're only going to run about 10 minutes, but probably about, 35? That's not bad. Yet now being 8:40, 20:40 in the evening, I will formally close the net for the week. Thank you very much. It's been enjoyable, folks. And we shall return the repeater to general use. Good evening. Thanks, everyone.